Joey Legend is a former WWE and TNA superstar, but there's more to him than just Joe. Debuting in 1992, Joey Legend is still wrestling to this very day. He was one of the lead trainers in celebrity wrestling in 2005 and has wrestled in more than 24 countries all around the world, as well as being an acclaimed published author. And now we have the pleasure of interviewing Joey Legend on Raw as Ginger. Kev, take it away.
Welcome back, everybody, to Raw as Ginger. And as you can tell, things are a wee bit different today. We're not going to have just all of us talking about our theories and what we think. We actually have a wrestling legend with us. We have Joe E. Legend, worldwide wrestler. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. You have done as much as you can do in this wrestling business. Just looking you up, it's like you've wrestled worldwide. You've wrestled in a lot of the big companies worldwide.
Most of them.
And won championships.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually remember watching you win the NWA Tag Team Championships. I watched that.
On TNA?
Yep, I watched that.
Yeah, the NWA tag belts. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. When we were getting told, we could have someone on the show, and I was like, all right. And then when they said who it was, I was like, I watched him win those titles.
I think it's a kind of a nice little benchmark in the career. I was happy about that. For sure.
It shows that you've got to a level where people say, we can trust you with a title, whether it's for like a day, a week, a month, a year. They have decided, there's a title, you are the top at that level.
Yeah, I was flattered by it, for sure. For sure, anytime a promotion says, okay, we want you to kind of be one of the faces of the company, it's a flattering thing, and it makes you feel like your hard work actually matters.
Yeah, it shows that you're doing something right, because it's not just being in the right place at the right time. It's being there, doing the work, and showing that you can do the work.
I'd like to hope so, but a lot of it is in the right place, right time, and knowing the right guy to get the right push.
I suppose a lot of it could be who you're friends with in certain companies.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing against Brutus Beefcake or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure it was friendships that kept him employed as long as he was.
It probably was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him. I'm sure there's 100 guys who do the same thing. He just was lucky enough to be the right guy with the right hookups.
Definitely. And when I was younger, I trained. I done like minor stuff. I done a lot of backyard stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And I thought, if I could just get in, could I have went somewhere? But it's like I didn't know anybody, so I couldn't find anybody to get in with. And it's like, because over in Scotland there wasn't really much wrestling schools of that. There's a lot more now than what there was like 30 years ago. Things have progressed, and there's a lot more wrestling schools worldwide training the top athletes in all the big companies.
Yeah, well, I've toured 46 countries, and I've probably taught seminars in 40 of them. I taught seminars in Nigeria. I never thought I'd go to Nigeria, let alone that. I taught stuff in Israel and Kuwait and things like that. It's amazing. Like soccer, you'll find in Europe is religion the same way hockey's a religion in Canada.
Yeah,
but you don't find a ton of hockey on the European side of the world, just like you don't find a ton of soccer. But wrestling's everywhere. It's astounding. I never thought I'd go to Russia. I've been to Russia 10 times. I never thought I'd go to Russia. I've been to South Africa 11 times. I've been to France 68 times. I never thought I'd ever go to France. I've been to the UK 147 times. I never thought it'd be cheaper to move there, for crying out loud.
With getting into the wrestling and starting off your career in like minor promotions, independents, did you think that you were going to go on for so long and make a career of it, or did you think it was just going to be something to pass the time until you found something else?
Oh, like a hobbyist. No, when I decided to do it, I wanted to go whole hog. I'm going to do something with this. I didn't know I'd go this long. Mm-hmm. I mean, September I turned 56. I never thought I'd go 56. I didn't think. I mean, I've had both my hips replaced. I never thought I'd be half robot and still
Yeah,
going wrestling, right? But son of a gun, I kept it going. I probably wouldn't have if it wasn't just so much fun.
yeah,
There's some I could sit here and deride it and crap all over. There's plenty of negatives to anything that has this many positives. There's got to be this many negatives. But I ultimately I've been pretty blessed. And if I hadn't gotten into wrestling, I wouldn't have gone to Japan, which wouldn't have got me into South Africa, which wouldn't have got me into the Detroit Indies, which wouldn't have got me into Germany, where I met my missus, and now where I live. So it's all kind of one leads on into the next. My life would be a completely different place if I hadn't, pursued this thing whole hog.
just the amount of stuff that you've done, the amount of people you've trained, the amount of people you've wrestled with. A lot of them have went on to have like legendary careers.
Yeah, Hall of Famers, yeah.
Yeah, but do you think that? I mean, I've followed a lot of independent people's careers, and I think they're Hall of Fame worthy careers, just because people like worldwide aren't seeing it doesn't mean that they should be belittled. Because a lot of people that just like the main big ones.
Yeah, the ones they see on TV. They don't. Yeah, they don't see the journeyman. The way years ago they had territories, and in territories, you'd spend a year or two in Florida, then you move on to Puerto Rico, and then you moved on to wherever. But there are guys out there like Chi Cruz who lives in Winnipeg. Best wrestler you never heard of. So good. Best baby faced. Had the best match of my career with that guy.
Yeah.
Murat Bosporus, a Turkish guy, lives in Germany. I had great matches all over the world with him. In fact, I'm going to be in May in Germany. He's getting inducted into one of the promotions here's Hall of Fame, and I've been asked to induct him.
Nice.
Which is an absolute honor to do. And, he's knocked the business on the head. He's moved on. But he deserved more from the business considering how much talent he had, but he just wasn't, like we were talking about earlier, right place, right time. Sometimes you got to be where the lightning strikes, and he wasn't. He's also not the tallest guy in the world, and we're only looking for kind of taller guys then. Now I think he's in a better chance because they're using littler guys who are, more athletic than a lot of the big sniffer guys. So he just, and like I said, I'm more of a journeyman guy. I didn't stay in any big territory too long. But I mean, years ago, in the territory days in the 70s and 80s and stuff, guys made fine livings at it. So I was just, I don't know, born too late.
Yeah. I think I was as well.
I was born right on time for music, though. I've got great music.
With the amount of things you've done in wrestling, you've also done so much out with wrestling as well.
Mm-hmm.
You've done some acting and stuff, which with wrestling, it goes like hand in hand. You need to be mostly half a performer, half an athlete.
Yeah.
And if you get the right mix, then you can split between the two.
Yeah.
But you're also a published author.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about
sharpened my best crayon and away I went.
Tell us about some of your books.
Well, the thing with the books was Scottish lady. She goes under the name Kristal McKerrington. She's married now. She's got a different last name, but I think she's still sticking with McKerrington professionally. That's her nom de plume.
Yeah.
So we'll go by Kristal McKerrington. I was goofing around online one day, and I was putting myself out there for a bunch of these movies and TV roles and things like that. And then her thing came up, I think it was on LinkedIn, just kind of at random. So I just wrote and said, if you have any projects, I'm available. I'm in Europe. So like when I'm traveling around wrestling, it just seems so much more international. The Canadian shows up in the German show. It seems like they flew me in. I actually just drove 2 hours, right? So, if you need it, I'm there. And just kind of left that. She messaged me back. We chatted for a while. And she said she's writing these books, which are kind of they're more about her. Like she's into street dancing, which I don't fully understand. I don't know anything about dancing, so we leave that comfortably in her hands because she's the expert. So she wrote these stories about a couple of girls, Marie and her sister, who were street dancers, and it's kind of a soap opera-y thing, but they're involved around the wrestling business. Their dad's a wrestler. And so because she was a big wrestling fan. And so she sent me stuff, and I looked at it, and it was interesting. I thought, this is an interesting take because it's not, the interest comes more outside of the ring than inside of the ring. So that's kind of cool. But by the same token, the wrestling stuff wasn't exactly accurate. So if you're gonna, do it, then let's be accurate. So I kind of took over just the wrestling side of it. Like I would give her 80% of the credit for any of it. I tidied up the wrestling stuff to make it more, true to life. Backstage stuff that you don't see on TV, just to make, I'd rather have it be sold as fairly legitimate. And next thing you know, we're published. And then just recently, which I'm here to shill, on my birthday, September 2nd was my birthday, she messaged me and she says, "Oh, your autobiography," which I'd written years ago. We set up a deal, I think there was a 5-book deal, and then it got shortened to 3 larger books instead of 5 smaller books. We're going to do 3 books of my autobiography. So I'd written a bunch of chapters of it. And then, life got in the way. She had stuff going on. I was traveling. I did this music video for these guys in Germany, and just one thing after another. My dad passed away, so I kind of got off track with a lot of stuff. But I sent it all to her to look at. So on my birthday this year, she goes, "Oh, by the way, your book's almost ready to be released." I was like, "Hey?" She goes, "Yeah, I've already edited everything." I'm like, "You're editing 300 other things. How did you squeeze that? Like, what the hell's going on here?" But yeah, she's such a workhorse, such a beast on it that she'd stayed up all night for 2 or 3 days to get it ready in time. And a couple days after my birthday, boom, my autobiography, the first book of my autobiography is out, which is called Joey Legend, and no, I haven't heard of you either.
Well, I can't wait to get a hold of it because I got a hold of Marie's World and I've been reading through that, and like you said, it's so interesting the way that all these different types of worlds join up.
Yeah, they interrelate oddly.
Yeah, and how that completely different things can interconnect so smoothly.
Do you know who Bill Burr is?
I know Bill Burr.
He was on, I think he was on Steve Austin's podcast, or Austin was on his podcast, whatever. But they were talking about, like, Steve started telling him about match psychology, how you build and so forth. And Bill was like, "That's exactly what we do. We tell jokes this way, and then we tell a little story, then we build to it." Like, the structure of a stand-up comedy set is kind of the same as wrestling. Like, you never think the two would cross over other than in promos.
Yeah.
But actually, in setup and delivery over a longer term, the psychology is fairly similar. So yeah, you never know what's going to cross over.
Yeah, so I only got given the book on, I think it was Thursday, and I'm already near enough halfway through. It's a great read. So we'll plug that as well. I'll plug that on my other channel.
Well, thank you.
It's why we're here. We're here to plug things. We're here to have conversations, and just to have a good time.
Yeah, a few laughs. Why not? Exactly.
Other things that you've done out with the writing and the acting, you've done Celebrity Wrestling in 2005, and I remember watching that as well. If my memory serves me right, your team won.
Yeah, we won everything. Men's, women's, and team championship. Yeah, we dominated.
I mean, what was that like, that training people who would probably have never thought about doing any type of wrestling?
Well, it wasn't necessarily wrestling. I think that's what ultimately screwed the show. Like, there was a couple of factors that screwed the show. Number one, they put us on primetime Saturday night, which I thought was great until I found out we were working opposite Doctor Who, which is like that's a British institution. They beat us down in the ratings. Holy crap. But I mean, it's Doctor Who. You can't, that's an institution in England. So that was going to be a negative impact on us. I had to sign up for this thing kind of sight unseen. They we talked money and everything. And they said, but you kind of, because we don't want to give the concept away until, we know you're signed on board. So I said, all right, it's good money. All right, give it a shot. I flew in and I was going to be there for a few weeks. And they brought me and D'Lo Brown in. And they brought us into ITV Towers there to meet the producers and all that. Very nice people. And so I'm still kind of going, like, they keep saying, this concept, that concept. Like, I know what wrestling is. I've done it for a couple of hours. And then they go, okay, so these are the game towers. And I'm like, game towers? What the hell are you talking about? So I look at it. I'm like, oh, this is like Gladiators. And it was like like in the movies where you hear like the record skip and everybody stops and stares, I'm like, what? And they go, you can't call it Gladiators. I'm like, why not? I'm like, well, Gladiators, a BBC property where ITV can't. I'm like, well, you can call it day rape if you want. It's Gladiators. That's what it is, right? And they say, well, this is our big concept. It's going to be great. We take celebrities, we give them wrestling gimmicks, we get wrestling trainers. Roddy Piper's, the main host. And, ITV has a history with wrestling for years and years.
Yeah.
And I remember D'Lo and I kind of had a chat, and I said, I got to bring this up. Just, I think you're shooting yourself in the foot with the name celebrity wrestling. Call it like celebrity challenge, celebrity combat, whatever. Having Roddy Piper involved covers your wrestling base. Yeah. D'Lo Brown to a lesser extent, Mai to a lesser extent than that. But having us three around, that's where your wrestling audience is going to tune in. But when you say celebrity wrestling and there's no wrestling, I think you're gonna muck with it. Because the people who don't like wrestling aren't going to tune in because it says wrestling. People who like wrestling are going to tune in once, see that it's not wrestling, and tune out. So, I just, I've signed up. I'll do it. I agreed to it, and you're paying good money. But if I see a problem, I should bring it up. I'd be remiss if I saw a problem, didn't bring it up, and then at the end it screws up, and you guys say, "Why don't you say something?" Right? So they gave me a talking to. We focus group this, and we know what we're doing. I'm like, all right. So we went with it, but that's one of the things is everybody I talked to, any of the fans that I bump into on the street would always say, yeah, we wanted to watch it, but then it wasn't wrestling. I'm like, yeah, I know. So I think that kind of screwed it up a bit. The celebrities themselves, they were all really nice people. I expected a couple. I wasn't sure if James Hewitt wasn't going to be kind of up his own ass type thing. I thought he was going to be, because he played the game. But first of all, he's a hard ass. He is so tough, that guy. But just friendly and the nicest guy, gentlemanly as hell, just a really good guy. And Kate Lawler was so much fun. Nobody worked harder than Kate Lawler. And I mean, I think she was just at that point, just like somebody on Big Brother. I think she won Big Brother or something.
Yeah.
So she wasn't famous for being athletic or anything. She was famous for showing up and being pretty. And then it turns out she's just this hardest working person, a load of charisma. Like I could have turned her if she'd come and trained with me for a while. I could have turned into a money-making wrestler. I know I could. She had that kind of ability and that kind of drive. So getting to train with them was interesting and fun. And the money was excellent. Not complaining about the money. Victoria Silvstedt, not hard on the eyes.
Yeah.
So, it was a fun time. It was just, I kind of saw the writing on the wall just on how the name misrepresented the product. So I saw the writing on the wall. I knew that if we won, I'd probably be back as the defending champion with a new team the next season, if there was one. So to dominate that way and win all the championships on my team, I still got the trophy here in the house. To dominate all that way and just have it go no further is a little disappointing, but you can kind of see why.
Yeah. I mean, when I watched it, I was like, there's no wrestling.
Yeah.
But because I was a fan of Gladiators when I was younger, I was like, I mean, I enjoy Gladiators. I'll just watch it anyway. Roddy Piper's there, and he was like one of my favourite wrestlers growing up.
He was one of the three influences that I got into the business for. Flair, Piper, Savage. So to get to hang out for like 2 months with Roddy Piper. And they say never meet your heroes because, they'll let you down. Roddy was the exception to the rule. Roddy was every bit as cool as you could have hoped he'd be and more. He was great. The world's a worse place for him not being around anymore.
Yeah, I mean, him and Savage were like two of the people that I gravitated to growing up. Another one was the Ultimate Warrior, but because, I was like 6 years old watching this guy paint, run, and then just slam people and then run away. It's like, that's insane. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people did. The guy drew money.
Exactly.
So the weird thing with Savage, I was the biggest Savage fan in the world and never got to hang out with him, ever. I met him once in an airport for like 2 seconds. But I got to hang out with Elizabeth on a WWE tour throughout. We did England, Ireland, Scotland, Switzerland, and then the second tour was Australia, New Zealand. And she was on them, and she was like, the lovely Elizabeth, the princess of wrestling, just the sweetest person. She absolutely was. Like, she was totally just the nicest lady. But I ended up becoming pals with Lanny Poffo, Randy's brother.
The genius.
And, he'd come to do shows in Germany. We'd hang out, and he would recite long stanzas of poetry. I was like, holy crap, where's my frisbee? What's going on here, buddy? He was great. And of anybody in the business, and I've been around a long time. I was in the business shy of 30 years when I got my hips done. But the night before I left for the hospital to get my first hip replaced, the only person from the wrestling business who messaged me was Lanny Poffo. He called me from Ecuador to wish me well. That's the kind of good guy Lanny was. So he's another one. What's the worst place without Lanny around? He was a lovely person.
And he was fantastic in the ring as well.
They always thought he was the talent of the team. Like when he was younger and him and Savage, they thought he was going to be the one to really go places and Savage was going to go to baseball. And then, Savage found the gimmick and took off. In his 50s, Lanny was still doing moonsaults. Like he was a good athlete.
I've seen some of the videos and it's like, I could hardly do that when I was 18. Little... Try and do it now. I'm 42 now. If I had to try that, I would break into 3.
I got a championship coming up for a belt here in Hanover in December. I may break the moonsault out of mothballs. I haven't done one in a while. I'm thinking of doing a triple jump, where you step on the chair up on the top rope and moonsault.
Right.
As a tribute to Sabu, because he was such a big help to me when I first broke in.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind, doing a little, nod to him and a bit of a thank you in public to him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he was fantastic as well. With people like that in the extreme types of wrestling, did you ever go and think, I could do that? Or was that something that you weren't really going to go into with like the extreme wrestling?
I did some of it. I mean, my first Japanese tour was FMW.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all barbed wire and chairs and, running through the crowd and stuff. So I did some of it. And when I was going regularly to Detroit, I was still living in Toronto. We go down to Detroit about once every 2 weeks after a while. And for ICW, which, insane championship wrestling, just ECW with a different, with a lower benefit. Yeah. But, it was an ECW style crowd. So there was a lot of tables and a lot of broken stuff. What we had that's interesting, Malcolm, the promoter, is the nicest guy. Bless his soul. He passed on. I still work for his son from time to time when I'm over in the States because they're a wonderful family. Mm-hmm. But we used to go to the Motor, I believe it's called the Motor City Sports Club. And we were going there like every 2 weeks. And I was like, gee whiz, like the plumbing here sucks. Like the toilets never flush and da-da-da-da. I'm like, and every match, like we're smashing walls, we're breaking things. And they're just, break more stuff. This doesn't seem right. So these two guys were wrestling Dirty TX, who's like kind of a Terry Funk gimmick, and Rick Matrix, who had kind of a Tommy Dreamer gimmick. So they fought out of the building into the parking lot. They had like a caged off parking lot with a bunch of wrecked cars. So they started like power bombing each other through the roofs of the cars and such. And Tex had the I don't know, the branding iron. Lights on fire and he's trying to brand thing. And people walking by. It's Detroit. It was like a suburb of Detroit. I think it's Dearborn. And they see a guy in a cowboy outfit taking a branding iron to some guy, smash him through a car, and crowds shouting IC-dub, IC-dub. And they call the cops thinking it's a real fight. Like, all right. What we found out is our show 2 weeks from then got canceled because when they called the cops and the cops showed up, we found out that the building had been condemned like a year prior. But Malcolm just showed up, pulled down the kind of caution tape, brought in a generator for the lights, and set up shop. Didn't have to pay rent. The whole roof could have crushed us. Like it just could have collapsed on it. Yeah, I hit another wall, went on you.
I mean, looking back at things like that, it's like when you think about it, it's like that was so dangerous. But how much fun was that?
Yeah.
I mean,
we had the best time.
I mean, some of the like CZW shows, it's just out in a field, surrounded by cars.
Yeah, but I mean, when they get into the light tubes and stuff, that's not my thing. Like, I think you don't need. I think those were always like in the southern states, you'd have like the Fantastics and the Sheep Herders.
Yeah,
and they do regular matches. And they get chaotic, and they're trying to give the Fantastics a tough guy image. So they're doing these bloody matches. They're fighting, and eventually it would come and do like a barbed wire cage match or something. And they built it so that the hardcore mattered.
Yeah.
But the hardcore, like they didn't do hardcore just for the sake of hardcore. And I think that was a problem with the business because like if the ratings dip on the NFL, rarely do the players come out and put barbed wire in football.
Yeah.
You know, they leave it to the product to sell itself. And if it's not selling itself, they readjust the marketing or something. But they realize that football fans want to watch football. I think wrestling fans want to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Make things interesting between two characters, and then you can bring them back in gimmick matches of a certain amount of violence. But if the opening match is, powerbomb off the top rope into a bucket of hospital syringes and
Yeah.
piranhas with laser beams on their heads, how am I going to get a headlock over 2 matches after that? So in
Exactly.
turn, everything's got to get more difficult. Everything's got to get hard. Everything's got to get more dangerous. Like, as much as I love Rock and Austin, I was a fan, and they're nice guys. But that the first time they wrestled at WrestleMania, like, Austin hits the stunner and Rock kicks out. Then Rock hits the rock bottom and Austin kicks out. Then Austin hits a rock bottom on Rock and Rock kicks out. Then Rock hits a stunner and Austin kicks out. It's back and forth, so they murder the finish, right? So now everybody wants to kick at everybody's finish. You don't finish anybody, by definition, it's not a finisher, right?
Yep.
And now then it becomes not just a power bomb. That's got to be a power bomb off the second. There's got to be a power bomb off the top. There's got to be a power bomb through a table. Now get another match where you just try to do a regular power bomb. Nobody wants to get beat with it because, everybody else is kicking out of the table bumps.
Yeah.
So guys just going out there and putting themselves more at risk instead of keeping things sacrosanct. Like in Mexico, the pile driver. You give a guy a pile driver, you're suspended, and the crowd goes nuts, and they carry the guy out on a stretcher with a neck brace and everything. So you don't have to do a pile driver off the top rope. You sneak one in behind the ref's back, and the crowd loses their mind because they've kept that sacrifice. Like the 3D. The Dudleys can still do a 3D to this day, and the people will buy it as a finish.
Definitely.
But you try to do a DDT as a finish now, and people are like, then 2 matches ago, they cut the guy off with it, and he came back.
Yeah.
Because everybody's done it so much, they've burnt it out, and they haven't kept it. They haven't protected these things. And because guys haven't protected things, you're seeing guys with more and more and more injuries because they got to do more and more dangerous crap because what was dangerous is now commonplace. So I think that's a real issue that wrestling's got to get away from and get back to taking things that are already pretty severe and maintaining the perception of severity.
Yeah. I think what the bigger companies have done is, like, with the gimmick matches, saving them for, like, the big main events rather than just pushing them out every week.
Yeah.
And like the smaller companies that have like the death matches, it's going to hinder your wrestlers and your performers rather than
the guys in the main event are going to do the most dangerous stuff. So you've pushed these guys to the top of your card, they're doing the most dangerous stuff. They're going to get hurt. So now you've either got to pay him to sit home, or you've got to bring a guy up from the bottom of the card the crowd doesn't buy as a main eventer yet, and risk losing ticket sales because the guy you built up as the big star isn't available because he broke his leg falling off a scaffold. I think we've blurred the line on the risk-reward ratio. There should be a significant risk-reward ratio, whether it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
And the promoter should be as much want to protect the wrestlers, and the wrestlers should want to protect themselves and the business. So I think it's everybody's responsibility, but everybody's just trying to get over. And if you can't get over with regular stuff, you'll do something bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's too big. Like, I honestly think somebody's going to get seriously hurt or killed in Hell in a Cell since Mick Foley went off the top.
Yeah.
Because now if they have a Hell in a Cell and somebody doesn't fall off the top, people feel they got ripped off. So the office is never going to tell you got to fall off the top because you can't do that.
Yeah.
Legally, I don't think you can do that. But the guy who says, I don't want to fall off the top is not going to go far. They're not going to push him anymore.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to get hurt, and it's going to be just a guy trying to, keep the office happy and chase his dream and everything else. And they might try to protect him, but law of averages dictates that it's high risk for a reason, and that risk is going to pay off negatively.
Yeah, I mean, when the standard's been set to like this level, you need to try and beat that. So it's like, if they're trying to get to this level, but they're only here, it's not a sustainable way of being in the industry.
But the amazing thing, if I can kind of use the business to beat my point home, take the long way home on this one, but Mick Foley was, when he got to WWF doing the Mankind thing, he was always upper mid card, and then they'd push him into the main event long enough for Shawn Michaels to beat him, long enough for Undertaker to beat him, and then back to upper mid card. Then a kind of a feud with Kane, but it wasn't the main event. It was featured, but it wasn't the main event. And then Foley dove off, and Foley was falling off I remember seeing him fall. Sting drop kicked him off the apron. He just took a flat back bump on the concrete and stuff. Mick, you crazy bastard. And he's taking all these crazy bumps, and he was always upper mid card. But then when he took the bump off the cage, and what was the Beyond the Mat?
Yeah.
when they showed him watching it with his family, and he was like, "Gee, I didn't know I was scaring my family that much, and it hurt too much, and I had like tooth sticking out my nose. I can't do this anymore. I gotta do something else because I'm going to kill myself." He went and became a character that people cared about. Put a sock on his hand, and all of a sudden, he was a steady main eventer and was a world champion 3 times because he made people care. They weren't just, "Oh, let's see somebody hurt themselves." Now it's, "Mick, please don't hurt yourself." Big difference. So big bumps don't always necessarily mean main events. Sometimes it means, you're there to put somebody else over, but you won't always be in the main event. The minute Mick stopped doing those big bumps is when he became, one of the top guys in the company.
Yeah. Just before we finish up, we've only got about 5 minutes left.
Oh shit! I didn't realize that. Sure, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's okay. In 2009, you were ranked 140 by PWI out of 500. Now, people will say, "Oh, only 140," but that's 140 out of 500. Out of how many wrestlers is there?
That's true.
I've been reading PWI for decades.
Yeah,
and I always loved when they done the 500, and because then I could see, "Oh, I don't know these wrestlers. I'll find out about them. I'll go find out their matches." And
it was the 500 that made Duke Droese. He was number 500 as the trash man. WWF brought him in.
Exactly.
It had value.
A lot of people say, "Oh, that doesn't mean anything." But when you found that out, how did that feel to you?
It was nice. I mean, on one hand, the arrogant part of me is like, 145. Who are these pricks ahead of me? I think it's pretty good considering I wasn't being used on a main roster. Like the guys who are going to get the top probably 30 positions are all guys pretty much WWE, TNA, or somewhere in Japan.
Yeah.
But guys who are main roster, close to main event guys in every company. For me to get up that high, I guess, while just essentially traveling the world and doing a bunch of indies and stuff, I get that right for myself. And I mean, they contacted me once just asking for some information on me. And I think I was in one before, but I was like 200 and something. Can't remember. They contacted me once. And, Bill Apter is a pal. So we'd shoot the breeze. I'm sure maybe Bill threw my name in there and maybe jumped me up a few more spots than maybe I deserved. Who knows? But yeah, it's a nice thing. Anytime you see yourself regarded in any way, not to say that I'm above anybody else, but the fact that somebody else regards me, "Oh, shoot, this guy's all right." It's nice to see.
Yeah.
You put in, I've been doing this 32 years? 33 years? I don't know, long time. I get hit in the head for a living, so it slides, right? But yeah, 30 plus years. But, anytime I see, that somebody's put a poster up for a show and I'm on the poster, I'm like, son of a gun, I'm still doing it. Like, that's what I dreamt of when I was 16. I'd like to go back and shake my 16-year-old self's hand. Say, "You did okay."
We don't have much time left, so I'm going to say it's been great having you on the show. You're welcome back anytime if you want to just come on and talk about one of the shows, and you can give us like a breakdown of behind the scenes bit of it. We only talk about it from like what we're watching. You can go into it because so we could maybe see about getting that done, maybe even a WrestleMania.
I'm happy to. I know I had to review for Starbuck. He has a podcast out of Finland. And one of the AEW he does like a 2-hour podcast. The first hour they review the recent whoever had a pay-per-view, and then the second hour you shoot the breeze. And so he said, "Do you mind reviewing that pay-per-view?" And I was like, "Okay, send me a link." And I've done it. So I'm happy to do it with you guys if you like.
Yeah, well, we can.
And I'll probably have to shill my second book too. The three titles as it stands. Number 1, Joey Legend. No, I haven't heard of you either. Available now at Amazon. I'm going to just be shameless about it. Number 2, tentatively, is called Joey Legend. Well, that didn't go to plan. And the third book will be Joey Legend. What the hell was the third one? Joey Legend, and you just get to the effing point. As they come out, I'll see if I can't, weasel my way back on here and shill the thing a little bit more.
That's not a problem. Just send us links and we'll get them shared for you.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'll send you the link to Amazon. You can put on your site. Help me out.
Definitely. Well, it's been great having you on, and you're welcome back anytime, Joe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. God bless you.
Well, on that note, we'll love yous and leave yous. See ya.